Okay, now all I have to do is get the pointer. Perfect. Zog the Heilige Gemara. We're up to the fourth line on Daf Lamed Dalet Amud Aleph. Itmar lul pasuach min habayis lalia. If you had a staircase that goes from the main floor tenant to the second floor tenant, and there would be an opening in the floor of the second level so the staircase could get up. Now, how did they deal with privacy issues? So if you look at the picture over here, what they would do is they would build a little room around the staircase on the lower level, and then they would build another room around the staircase on the upper level, and the upstairs tenant had the key to this door, and the lower tenant had the key to this door. This way, they can each maintain their own privacy. So if you had such a lul, Zok te Heilige Gemara, Omer Rav Huna, Zok Rav Huna, Im yesh loi pesach echad, chayiv b'mezuzah achas. If there's only one door, then you're chayiv in one mezuzah. Im yesh loi beis psachin, and if there's two doors, as Rashi says, echad bevayis, ve'echad ba'aliyah, then chayiv b'shtei mezuzahs. What's the chiddush here? Omer Rav Papa Shmami Nobi de Rav Huna, was me learned from Rav Huna, is high in Druna, which is a room with four doors. This le arba bavi, chayiv ba'arba mezuzahs. Frek Gemara, what's the chiddush? It has four doors. Pshita. Zok Gemara, loy tzricha afal gav de ragel b'chad. Even though one was used primarily. So this should tickle our memory, because we had a Gemara a couple of days ago where Rebbe had a private door with which he entered the Besmedrish, and they didn't put a mezuzah on that door at all. Yet Rav Huna had a door that he went into the Besmedrish, so they did put a mezuzah on. So the Gemara asked, what's pshat? And the Gemara answered, Rebbe's door, nobody was ruggling, so therefore it didn't need a mezuzah, and Rav Huna's door, he was ruggling. So the question over here is, here it says you're only ruggling one door, you still need a mezuzah on all doors, so what's the difference between this and Rebbe? So let's see Rashi. Rashi has two pshatim. Aval gav the ruggel b'chad minayu, tvei, even though one is used much more than the other three. That's why by Rebbe, he didn't put a mezuzah on his door. Hanameli kagoyin trei bavi. There's two doors, v'rogel b'chad, and the main door that was used is only one. Therefore, betela idich ligabei. So the door that Rebbe used is bottled to the main door that was smedrish that everybody used. Avol talasa ligabechad. But if there's three doors that are the ones that are not rugel, and one is rugel, three won't be bottled. One could be bottled in the second door, but three to be bottled, that you don't say. That's Rashi's first pshat. But Rashi has another pshat. Lishna china michuvas hagoinim halach hacha rogel shahaya. Let's see what the Zion says, because that helps us a little bit. Zokt Rashi ki amrinon halach hacha rogel. When do you say halach hacha rogel? That shahayu harbe b'nei adam regilin notis v'lavei boy. There's many people that would use the door that's rogel. Everybody used the other door. Rebbe's door was used exclusively by Rebbe. But Rav Huna's door didn't need a mezuzah. Yes, it was his door, but other people used the door as well. But in our Gemara's case, where there's one room with multiple doors, and all the doors are available for everybody. It's not a private door for Rebbe, like in the Frierdiker Gemara. Rather, they're all public doors. Let's look at the back. There's one door that's always used, but they needed more psachim when there's a lot of traffic. Then they're all chayav in mezuzah. So I envision, if you go into a convention center, usually there's like a whole row of doors, but most people go in through the central door. But you can go in through any door. They're all mechayiv in mezuzah. Even though at a time where there's not so much traffic, they don't use the other doors, only the central doors. They still all need to have a mezuzah. Gewaltig. Amar Meimer. Hai Pischa, the Akrana, is Chai b'mezuzah. Now this means a Pesach that's on the corner. So here you have a door that's a corner. A lot of stores on Bathurst Street, if they're on a corner, they'll have a door on the diagonal. I believe Hermes has it that way. So what if you have a door that's on the diagonal? Zok to Gemara, it needs a mezuzah. Why does it need a mezuzah? Omar le Reb Ashi la Meimar, but less le psimin, but it doesn't have a doorpost. It's just the two walls are cut short. Omar le adi pitsimi, those ends of the walls, those are the psimin, those are the doorposts. Rav Papa ikla levei Mar Shmuel. Rav Papa came to visit the house of Mar Shmuel. Chaza hahu pischa, he had a door, it only had one doorpost, mismaila on the left side. Nevertheless, vavida le mezuzah. They made a mezuzah. So what exactly was the case? So there's two pictures that the Mesivta has. Either a case like this, where the wall on the left side was there, so there's the doorpost, but on the right side, there's no wall there. So because the wall didn't reach all the way to the end, so there's no doorpost there. Or alternatively, you have a scenario where the wall on the right side extended past the opening of the door. So this could be, let's say, at the end of a hallway, where you'll have a door all the way up against one side of the hallway, so there's a doorpost on the left side, but not on the right side. And nevertheless, there was a mezuzah there on the left side where there was a door frame. So Zog to Gemara, Amar Lei, so he asked Mar Shmuel, come on, who are you paskening like to require a mezuzah here on the left door? Kerab Meir? Is it according to Reb Meir, whose shita we're going to shortly learn? Amar Damar Reb Meir, where did Reb Meir say that you could put a mezuzah if there's only one doorpost? That's miyamin, that's if it's on the right. But mismoil mi Amar, he never said you could put a mezuzah on the left side. Mahi, where did my Papa know that you could only put a mezuzah on the right side? The Tanya we learned, it says Uchsavtam al mezuzahs beisecha. So we dash in beisecha bi oscha min hayimin. The way you come in, which is at the right. Ata oimer min hayimin, you're saying the right side. Oy einay ela mismail. Maybe the mezuzah is on the left side. Talmud Lamer beisecha. How do you see from the word beisecha that it's on the right side? When someone, they always say when you move forward, you'll always go first with your right foot, and therefore we say it's the entry is always with the right. The entry is always with the right. That's where the mezuzah should be, on the right side.
Do I have to change my mezuzah to the left side?
What's that?
Do I have to change my mezuzah to the left side? I'm lefty.
It's very interesting that you asked that, because the Mefarshim discuss what about for a lefty. So the Mefarshim say that your house is not only for you, there's other people there, that you would still put it on the right for everybody. Rabbi Shmuel Bar Acha, but there's a big discussion about it actually. Rabbi Shmuel Bar Acha, Kamei de Rav Papa, Rabbi Shmuel Bar Acha said over in front of Rav Papa, Mishmei de Rabba Bar Ula, Amar Mehacha. He said, I have a different pasuk that says that it will be on the right. The Torah tells us, Vayikach Yehoyada HaKoyin Oroi Nachot. He took a box, he wanted to be machazik, the Bedek HaBayis. Vayikav Chor B'daltoi. And he made a slot to put money into. Vayitin Oisay Eitzel HaMizbech Mimin Bevoyish Beis Hashem. He put it on the right side of the Mizbech when someone comes in. So you see, when someone comes in, he comes in with the right. So you see that when you come in on the right.
The Lublin starts again.
Gewaltig. What is the Shkolim?
Today's Haftarah.
That's right. This is the Torah. That's correct. Frag the Gemara, my Rab Meir. Now let's get into the halacha that we said from Rab Meir, that one mezuzah would be mechayev you, one doorpost alone would be mechayev you a mezuzah. The Tanya, Abaye she'ein lo ela patzah mechad, Rab Meir mechayev b'mezuzah, v'chachamim poitrin. My time do the Rabbanan. Why do the Rabbanan say it's potter? Mezuzos ksiv, uchsavtem al mezuzos beisecha. Mezuzos means two mezuzos. Zog to Gemara, my time of Rab Meir, and what's the svara of Rab Meir? The Tanya mezuzos, shemei ani miyot mezuzos ishtayim. Mezuzos is plural, so pashas it means two. Kishu Aimer mezuzos beparsha shniya. In the second parsha of Ahayim Shemoyah, it also says uchasaftem al mezuzos beisecha. Why does it say mezuzos twice? She'ein Talmud loimer haveribuy acharibui vein ribuy acharibui elolamayit. So Meir Mata Kosav Lumezuzah Achas Divrei Rabbi Shmuel. This is how Rabbi Shmuel understood the psak of Rabbi Meir, that even one doorpost would be enough to be Machayev Mezuzah because of the Ribuy Achar Ribuy Elolamayit. Rabbi Kiva Eimer Nitzarach. You don't need that. Kishu Eimer Ala Mashkoif Al Shtei Mezuzahs. By Pesach, by the first Korban Pesach, it said that they should smear the dam on the Mashkoif and then on the Shtei Mezuzahs. It could have said Ve'al HaMezuzahs. Why did it have to speak out Shtei Mezuzahs? Shein Tamid Loimer Shtei. Ma Tamid Loimer Shtei. Ze Bona'av Kol Mokum Shenemer Mezuzahs Einoi Elo Achas Achi Yiforet Loch HaKosav Shtayim. The default Mezuzahs would mean only one. The Torah had to speak out two. That's how you know that normally the default is one, so mezuzahs could mean only one mezuzah. Two pshatim in Reb Meir. Tanu Rabbanan. Uchesav tom. It should be a ksiva tama. Yochel yichasven al ha'avonim. You might think, it says, where does it say to write it? Uchesav tom al mezuzahs beisecha. Meaning, write it directly on the doorpost. So you might think you should write the mezuzah on the stone. Nemer kan ksiva. It says ksiva in the parsha of mezuzah. Uchesav tom. V'nemer la'alon ksiva in the parsha of get. Ma la'alon ala sefer. Just like a get has to be written on a klaf, afkan, so too the ksivas hamezuzah is ala sefer on a klaf. Oy kalach l'derech zu. Maybe look at it from a different perspective. Nemer kan ksiva. It says ksiva by the mezuzah. V'nemer la'alon ksiva, when it talked about writing the Sefer Torah on the rocks before they crossed over into Eretz Yisrael, Malalon al Avonim, just like there was on rocks, Afkan al Havonim. Zok to Gemara Nira Lemidoima. Let's see what we should compare it to. Don in Ksiva Hanoi Heges Ledoris Miksiva on the Heges Ledoris. I'm not sure if Reb Daniel is saying a shir tonight. I thought he was not saying a shir tonight, but it looks like the item from Daniel shir is logging in. So if Reb Daniel logs in, what we're going to do is we're going to have to move into a room. We'll move into a room. But so far, Rabbi Avram, is Rabbi Daniel saying shir tonight?
I think.
You think so?
Yeah.
What time?
He said 8.
He said at 8 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay, so that means I have to move. It's 8:03. So it's not a problem. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a room. I'm going to go into a room. So I'll get out of your way.
You die by the way.
I'm going to but I'm going to open up a room.
By the way, there's an echo again.
Give me 1 second. I'm creating a room. And I'm going to name it Rabbi Finkel. And I'm going to put your oilam into it. So let's see. I'm going to put Avram into his room.
Okay.
1 second.
Oh.
1 second. Okay.
Do I join?
Yeah, you should go into that room.
Do I join?
Join Rabbi Finkel's here, yeah.
What's going on?
1 second.
We're in the wrong shir.
I'm sending you to a different room.
I just sit back and wait. You send me?
Well, is it asking you if you want to go?
Yes, join me.
So click join. Yeah. Yeah. Whoever sees join Rabbi Finkel's room, please click join. Okay, I think the oil moved. Okay. So as they come in, I'm going to send them into Rabbi Finkel's room. Okay, so far so good. Okay, Zog to Gemara weiter.
Nearly me done.
Nira l'midaima, Zog to Gemara. Don in Ksiva an Heges Ladaris, Miksiva an Heges Ladaris. We will learn Ksiva an Heges Ladaris. 1 second. Reb Daniel, I'm going to move you into a room, if that's okay.
Yeah, just move me anywhere.
No, I put your oilam into a room, so I'm going to put your oilam into a room.
Can you put me into Rabbi Stefanski's room? Cult of Yosy, put me wherever you put me, just get me there.
Okay, you just have to click join.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're good. Okay, if anybody comes into the room and you're looking for every single shear, just let me know, and I will transfer you in. Okay, 1 second. One second. No, I'm middle. Okay, weitergegangen. I was in Daniel's room, so I'm moving his oilam into a room, so that's why we pause a little bit. So sagt Gemara, Donen ksiva an heges ladoris, miksiva an heges ladoris. We're going to learn the ksiva of mezuzah, which is noig ladoris, from get, which is noig forever. It's a permanent mitzvah. Vein donen ksiva an heges ladoris, miksiva shenin heges ladoris. The stones that they wrote the Torah on, that was a hayrashah. It was a one-time issue. It wasn't something that was done over and over again, the Darius. So therefore, we're not going to learn mezuzah from it. Uchamoisha nemar. Uchamoisha nemar, like it says in Meyer, you have to select Rabbi Finkel's room. You have to click join. Ah, perfect. Like it says, Lalon, this was the Sefer writing for Yirmiyahu, so you can see that he wrote on the Sefer B'dayoy. Gewaltig. So let's stop a second and let's ask a question. The question that I'm going to ask is, a get, does a get only work if it's written on a cloth? Can't the get be written on a stone? Can it be written on Keren Ashor? So frek toisvis. How could Rashi learn that we're learning the chsavtem from ksiva of a get? A get could even be written on Keren Ashor. And for toisvis that maybe it's not referring to the ksiva of a get. Maybe it's referring to toisvis. Maybe it's referring to the ksiva of Parsha Soita, or the ksiva of Mishnah Torah, which are both noig l'deiros, and they're for sure on the klaf. Gewaltig. Zog the heilige Gemara weiter. Fragt the Gemara, I don't understand. How could you possibly say that when you write a mezuzah, you're writing the mezuzah on a klaf? The pasuk says uchasaftom al mezuzos. You can't get anything more specific than that. So fragt the Gemara. Omar le Rab Acha b'rei the Rebbe Rav Ashi Rachman Omar al mezuzos. V'yat Omar nelach ksiva ksiva. It's a pasuk. It says beferish ein mikra yotzei midei pshutai. Omar Kra, the teretz is the pasuk is uchasaftom. Uchasaftom means a ksiva tama. First you complete the ksiva. After you complete the ksiva, the hadar ala mezuzos, and then place it on the mezuzos. So first you have to make a ksiva, then put on the mezuzos, means you have to write it on something first. Frag the Gemara, so that's you're touching into the words of the pasuk chasaftam. So then why do I need why in the world do I need a gzeir shava to tell me that you write it on the klaf? Uchasaftam tells me that already. Zok to Gemara, no. Maybe write it on a stone tablet, and then take the stone tablet and place it on the mezuzah v'likva sipa. Kamash malon, that you have to write it on a klaf. Gewaltig. Now we're switching gears. I'm sorry?
That stone would have to be in the mezuzah itself.
You write a stone, and then you mount the stone on the wall, on the doorpost, just like you would mount the mezuzah on the doorpost. So Zog to Gemara, so now we finished the parsha of mezuzah, and now we're switching gears, and we're going to be learning all about tefillin. Zog to Gemara, Arba parashas of tefillin, if you remember, how did we get into the sugi? We're in the middle of Menachos. How are we getting into mezuzah and tefillin? Because if you remember, the Gemara taught us, the Mishnah taught us, that all of the components of the mincha are ma'akiv zu. The levonya is ma'akiv the kaimitz, and the kaimitz is ma'akiv each other. So we got into other examples of things that are ma'akiv. So one of the things was, arba parashas shebet tefillin ma'akiv zu va'afilu ksav echad ma'akiv, and even one letter is going to be ma'akiv. Zok to Gemara. Pshita, isn't that pashit? And there's a three-way machlokus what kuta shal yud is. It either means this, or it means this, or it means this. It's mamash geschmack. It takes a second to point rather than to describe it. Zog to heilige Gemara. That's also pshita. Why would you think if it's missing part of a letter, it would be kosher? Zog to Gemara nitzcha ela leidich di Rabbi Yehuda. Then Rabbi Yehuda marav kol oish ein gevil mukaf lo me'aber rechaisel. The ois has to have clear cloth all the way around it. If it doesn't have a psula, so I thought it just means if two letters are touching. But Moshe Stern was ma'ir. You also can't write the letter right up against the end of the cloth. There has to be some cloth all the way around the letter. Gewaltig. Zog the heilige Gemara on Amud Beis. Tanu Rabbanan. L'taytafos. Now, what we're going to be learning is that it says twice l'taytafos with aravov, meaning 1, 2, and then once it says l'taytafos with avov, so 2 plus 2 is 4, harek and dalid, and that's why there are 4 parshas in the tefillin. But we need to understand what is this l'taytafos. So let's look first at the Torah Ar HaShalom. It's not going to stim. Clearly, our nusach of the Torah does not match the Gemara's nusach. Ukshadam lois alidecha v'ilo teitafos ben yinecha no vav at all. V'samtem is devar ela alavav ha'alav shechem ukshadam lois v'ilo teitafos. This has a vav. You see that? And then the third pasuk again the teitafos has a vav. So obviously the Gemara didn't have teitafos in the second one. So what's shtickle scary is that our Sifrei Torah, which has Messiah, is not pashut. It's under dispute.
Oh. Hello.
David, I'm going to assign you to Rabbi Finkelshire. All you have to do is click join.
Okay. How are you?
Haidel Hashem Kitayv, Baruch Hashem. We miss you here.
Yeah, okay. I miss you too, but I wish I was. I love davening without anybody bothering me. It's a pleasure.
Well, Baruch Hashem, you can enjoy.
Yes. Okay. I want to talk to you. Get the box?
Good to
I see. You're looking good.
Thank you. So it seems like our way we have our Messiah that we have how Sefer Torah is written. It's in the time of the Rishonim already. There's a little bit of discrepancy. Do you remember the Rav's son-in-law once spoke, and he was saying over a story about someone had the Sefer Torah of Ezra Sofer in their possession, and there was a very wealthy person who had it, and the two brothers, one said, "I'll take the Sefer Torah, and I'll let you have all the millions of dollars in the estate." Remember the story? And then what happened was they wanted the Sefer Torah back. Somebody wanted Sefer Torah, and then someone came and broke in and damaged the Sefer Torah. Remember, he damaged the ayin or something. There's a whole story. I forgot the story. It was a fascinating story. Anyway, let's just take a quick peek in Toshis over here. L'tei tavos. In Shema and V'hayim Shemoya, it says l'tei tavos with Aravov, which is how Toshis is Gurish. But clearly our Torah says Vav in V'hayim Shemoya, right? That was our problem. But this is what Toshis says. And V'hay Kiviyacha, in the third parsha, it says l'tei tavos with a Vav. Sfarim Diyakim. That's in the Sfarim Diyakim. I guess our Sfarim are not Diyakim. Avol bein pei letof like sevav. In none of these words is there a vav found between the pei and the sof. Fractais is based on that. In order for it to be mashma tu, there has to be the vav between the pei and the tof, not between the tes and the tes. If you hold, you could take the letter from here and reposition it to there, then it will be okay. But you only find that you move letters around from the beginning of the word to the end of the word, not from the middle. So this is not going to work. I guess so. That would be how it's written. The vav kama, the u l'tei tafos, it's that vav that we're switching to the end of the word. Mokminin b'soif ki'ilu ksiv l'tei tafos. So that you could do, you're moving the first vav around. So Toshis is handling where you get these two vavs. But whatever the case is, that's how you know four. Divrei Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Kiva mein tzarech. Tat b'kasvi is 2, and pas b'afriki is 2. So they both mean 2, so 2 plus 2 is 4. You're going to ask, because some African word means 2, that's going to be a halach of Tefilin? So the Mesivta brings down from a Talmud of the Rashba by the name of Rab Evan Shoyev, or Schwab, maybe Rab Schwab, Talmud of the Rashba. So he brings down that by the Dora Floga, everyone spoke Lashon HaKodesh. And then Hashem was maflik the language, he made 70 languages and 70 nations. But some of the original Hebrew words were adopted into the other languages. What Hashem made is even more. Hashem said that I'm going to remove this from Lashon Kodesh and I'm going to put it in other languages. So all the other languages might have taken words from Lashon Kodesh that no longer are in Lashon Kodesh, and that's why Avada is Lashon Kodesh. That was one pshat. The other pshat is he brings down from David, the Divrei David, written by the Taz, whose yahrzeit was on Thursday, and we all know that because it's also Chaim Tzvi's birthday. The Klal Yisrael suffered such a loss when the Taz died that Hashem had to be mashlim Klal Yisrael by giving us Chaim Tzvi. Right? You didn't see he wrote a whole Torah, he wrote a whole Sikul Torah on his birthday, but anyway. Pirish Shebe'emes, and he'll is connected to the Taz, because the Taz passes that you can make Kiddush on whiskey. So Chaim Tzvi, that's his claim to fame, you know. So he answers, Shebe'emes tata upas hem tevois b'loshon HaKodesh gam bizmanenu elo she'eino yodim pirusham v'chivin shematzinu b'loshonos acheros shetat upas kavanos l'shtayim onum afarshim shemin astam gam b'loshon HaKodesh kach pirusham. The third shpeder brings us from the Lechem Mishnah that it's just an asmachta ba'almo, but it's really halacha l'Moshe Messinai. Okay, gewaltig. Let's see the Gemara weiter. Taner Rabbanan, Yochel Yichtevim al Dalet Oyros, V'yanichem B'Dalet Batim. You should write 4 parshias on 4 individual little pieces of cloth, and then you should put them into 4 individual bottom. We're talking about the Shal Rosh. B'Dalet Oyros. Talmud Loimar ul Zikaron B'nei Nocha. It's a singular Zikaron. Zikrein echad omaiti loch v'loy bez gimel v'schroinus. So you need to have multiples, but you need to have one. Haketzad, how does that work out? Koisvan al dalet ayres. You write 4 klafs, one with each of the 4 parshias. Shema v'haya and v'haya kiviyacha. I forgot the 4th parsha, but we'll see it in a minute. Umanichan b'dalet batim. They each go into a separate compartment, but ba'or echad, which is how we do it, right? We start off with a single klaf, and it's formed with presses into 4 different positions. That's how it's formed. Vim kosvan ba'or echad v'niach b'dalet batim. What if you wrote it on 1 klaf, but you put it into 4 bottom? Now, how is that possible? If it's 1 klaf, how can you put 1 klaf into 4 bottom?
You wind it
So
around.
Rashi, I'm sorry?
You wind it around.
What do you mean you wind it around?
So Rosh is made out of one thing. It's formed like that. It's formed into 4 buttons.
No, that's the bottom. That's the bias. But we're talking about what if you have 1 long scroll and you put 1 long scroll into 4 of the compartments? How can you put 1 long scroll into 4 of the compartments?
Because the compartments themselves are just one space.
No, I understand that, but if you're going to be standing it up, right? You're not putting a line down. If you're standing it up, and you have it going around, you strip it up inside. How are you going to get from one to the next without tearing it? So Rashi explains the way it's done is actually like this. You actually cut in between its margin so that you could put this into 1 compartment, and you could, just leaving this little piece which will go across from 1 compartment to the next, this can go into the 2nd compartment. So you have Shema, Vayim Shemoya, Kadesh, Shemoya, Kiviyacha, and they can each go into their own compartment, and they'll fit because there's only 1 sliver at the top of the klaf or at the bottom of the klaf that's going to have to go across from 1 position to the next. So that's how that would be kosher as well, even though you're supposed to really have 4 different klafs. That would also be good. But if you do that, then there has to be a little bit of extra space in between the parshas when you write them, so you should be able to separate them better. But the chamarim ain't tzarich. You don't need any space. It's fine. Vishavin, but everybody agrees. Shenoisen chut oy meshicha bein kol achas va'achas. Everybody agrees that you should have, if you did it with 1 long klaf, then you should have a gid in between each of the 4 compartments. I was told by Moshe Stern that nowadays every sholrosh actually has a gid that goes through, that goes through in between the 4 bottom. There's actually a gid that goes through. He told me his son just got tefillin, and the Rebbe did that for him. He said that's how they do it nowadays. If you can't even tell that there's actually separate 4 bottom, we have those lines, you can tell. If you can't tell, psulas will be possible. So I just want to share with you, I have some pictures as to how the bottom are made, and I just want to share it with you because it's quite interesting. I think I have it in my camera, so I'm going to share it with you. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find it. Because we had, Rabbi Sevi once did a demonstration for us in Koilel Dirshu. And I believe that I saved it in the separate album so we can actually see what it looked like. Let me see if I still have it. Here, Tefilin. So I hope, can you see this on the screen? Yeah, you should be able to see it on the screen. So here he's getting set up. Let me see if I can move it this way. It'll be bigger. Yeah, it's a little bit bigger. So this is what they start with, a piece of cloth. This looks like, so they're forming a box out of it, right? And then they push down in between the box to create the 4 compartments. So you see they're stripping down a little bit. This is what it looks on the inside. And this is where it's already more formed. The 4 compartments are getting more defined. These are the sinews that they use to tie things up. I don't even know what this is, but this looks like it's a shal yad, because there's 1 box, and here there's shal roish, when it's not really finished so smoothly. And here you can see there are 4 separate bottom. It's amazing how they press it nowadays with the new presses that could be square. The old film didn't look like this. So this is what it looks like when it's still in a more undeveloped stage. They take it and they push the 4 holes into it before they square them up. So these pictures are clearly not in order. Here again, you see the same cloth that they made the 4 compartments in, that eventually they're going to press into a proper square. And this is the 4 sections when they're square, but they're not pressed together yet. Then they would press it together, because here it's already pressed together. Again, this is the shel yad. No, this is actually shel rosh. Before they put the 4 compartments, this is where we had the picture from the inside. Now we have a picture from the outside. And these were all his demonstrations. Here's the parsha that he's holding. So here he's just demonstrating the 4 compartments. Here's all the different stages of development. It starts here, then it goes to this, then it goes to this, and then it goes to this, and then they press it all together nicely. Okay, that was the show and tell for today. But it makes a big difference when you see a picture of it. Then you see what it's talking about. Zog to Gemara weiter. Tanu Rabbanon. Keitzat koisva. How do you write these tefillin? Tefillah shal yad koisva al orechad. That's one long cloth. It's not 4 different cloths like you have in a shal rosh. It's one. Vim koisva ba'arba iris. What if you wrote 4 different parshias like the shal yad? V'nicha b'bayis echad, but you put it all into the one bayis, which is how the shal yad is made. Yotza, you're going to be yotza. But v'tzarech l'dabek, you do have to connect them together. Rashi says either with a sinew or with glue. Shenemar v'haya l'cha la'ois al yodecha. The ois to you should be one ois on your hand, meaning kishem she'ois achas mibachutz. The same way somebody looking at your shal yad looks at it as if it's all one ois, because there's one compartment. They don't know what's going on inside, that you had it cut into 4 pieces. Kach ois achas mibifnim, that's how it has to be bifnim. You know what's going on inside. It has to be one scroll, so that's why you'd have to connect the 4 together if there's written in 4 separate scrolls. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda, no, you can have 4 separate parshias into the one bayis of a shal yad. Amar Rabbi Yosy, umoida li Rabbi Yehuda beRebbi. Rabbi Yehuda beRebbi is moida to me. Shem ein lo tefillin shal yad. What if you didn't have a tefillin shal yad? V'yesh lo shtei tefillin shal rosh. You have 2 tefillin shal rosh. You know what you could do? Shetoil or al achas mehen. You could just put one piece of or and cover over all 4 bottom of the shal rosh to make it look like one. Umanicha, and you could put it on the shal yad. How could you tell me that he's moida? That's mamish the machlokes. Moida hainu pluktayu. What do you mean? He said avada it has to be one. It has to be one parsha. You can't have it in 4 parshas in 4 compartments. That's mamish the machlokes. What means moida over there? Amarava midvar shor Rabbi Yosy. From the fact that Rabbi Yosy said that the Rabbi Yehuda is moida to me, it means that chazer by Rabbi Yehuda. It proves that Rabbi Yehuda must have been chazer. Because there's no way he could be moida but argue in a different prat. That is the prat. Whether or not it could be 1 scroll, or if it has to be, whether it could be 4 scrolls, or it has to be 1 scroll. So it must be that Rabbi Yehuda was moida to Rabbi Yosy. Zog to Gemara, Eini, is that so? V'ashalach Rab Chananya mishmei Rabbi Yochanan, Tefillah shal yad, ois and ois shal rosh, v'shal rosh, ein ois and ois shal yad. You could make a tefillin shal yad into a shal rosh, but you cannot make a shal rosh into a shal yad. Levishein maridin mikdusha chamura lekdusha kala. So it says here beferish that you cannot make a tefillin shal yad, a tefillin shal rosh into a tefillin shal yad. So how could he say umaydi Rabbi Yosy shemein lo tefillin shal yad? You could make one out of a tefillin shal rosh. It says beferish you cannot make a tefillin shal rosh into a tefillin shal yad. Why? Why is shal rosh kedusha chamura? Rashi has 2 interesting pshatim. First pshat is on the tefillin shal rosh of a shin and a dalet. Where's the yud of shakai? That's in the knot of the shal yad. So who has most of the name of shakai? The shal rosh. That's one shot. The other shot Rashi says is because it says V'roach halamei arsh v'yarim mimeka. Where is the year from? V'tanya Rabbi Elazar Agad Loimer Elu Tefilin Shel B'Rosh. So the Tefilin Shel Rosh is the main kedusha of Tefilin. So at the end of the day, how could you tell me that Rabbi Yosy is Moedeh, that if you didn't have Tefilin Shel Yad, you could repurpose a Tefilin Shel Rosh? Clearly, you see you can't. Zogt Gemara Loi Kasha. If it's old and it was already used as Tefilin Shel Rosh and it was Niskadish, then you say, but if it's new tefillin that you prepared for Shel Rosh, but it was never used, there it doesn't have that kedusha, and you can use it for Shel Yad. What are you going to do then? If you hold this money, prepared it for Shel Rosh, how could you now use it for Shel Yad? It's speaking where when he originally made it as a Shel Rosh, he made it tonight that if I will need it for a Shel Yad, I'm able to use it. Tanu Rabbanan, Keitzat Sidran. What is the order of how you put the parashiyos into the Shel Rosh? Kadesh li, v'hoya kiviyacha mimin, and Shema v'hoyim shemoya mismael. So let's have a look. Kadesh v'hoya kiviyacha is on the right side. Shema and Vayim Shemaya is on the left side. Right?
The question is, which is at the end? See the left.
For Rabbeinu Tam learns, it's Kadesh and Vayim Kiviyacha on the right, and the left, it's Shema and Vayim Shemaya, but the question is he going from right to left or from left to right? So Rashi learns we're going from right to left the whole time. So when it says on the left side Shema V'im Shemaya, we're going from left to right. Rabbeinu Tam learns the Gemara is saying from here it's right to left, and from here it's left to right.
That's the difference between Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam.
Yeah. So somebody asked if the whole Nafkamina is only about a Shel Rosh, why do you need another Shel Yad? Right? So Moti said I could have saved a lot of money. A smaller baitel, a smaller thing. I don't know the answer to that question. I'm hoping to learn it in great detail, so I'll get a better understanding of what it is. So Zog to Gemara. Keita Chidin Kadosh Li Vay Kiviyacha Miyamin Shema Vayim Shemoya Mismail. Fragt the Gemara about Tanya Ipcha. We learned that it's punkt verkehrt. Rabbi Loi Kasha Kan Mimine Shal Kairei Kan Mimine Shal Miniach Vakairei Kairei Kasidran. It all depends on what your perspective is. Here, if I'm reading it and I'm standing opposite you, so then Kaddish Li is going to be on the right, but if I'm wearing a tefillin, then it's V'hayim Shemaya that's on the right. So it's not a stira between these two shittas. One was talking about the order that you see it when you're looking at it opposite it, the kairei, and one is talking about you're looking at it as the maniach from that perspective, so that's why it's not a stira.
According to the Gemara before, that you can make it tonight. So that's why you need another Shel Yad. So Rosh and Shel Yad, in case you need it for Shel Yad.
I don't understand.
He made it tonight. He can use the Rosh for Shel Yad.
Right.
So in case he changes his mind, he needs the Rosh for Shel Yad. He needs another pair of tefillin.
But why does he have to have a second Shel Yad? Why can't he use the Shel Yad of Rashi when he puts under a Rabbeinu Tam film? It's the same thing. So I'm not sure. We'll have to see if there's a chiluk.
He says in the article, the passage is the same in both tefillin according to Rashi, possibly according to Rabbeinu Tam the same. So if it's the same order, the Shel Yad, that's why you need.
Oh, so in the Shel Yad, it's also they would write the passage in different order.
According to Rashi, and very likely.
Because Rashi says that the reason why it's this order is because that is the order in the Torah of how it's written.
Right.
If you,
So the Shel Yad, same thing.
but the Rabbeinu Tam holds you change the order around.
Maybe.
Okay, very good. Amar, that's the Kaira Kasidron, meaning it's in order of how the parashas are written in the Torah. Amar B'Chanan al Amarav, Hechlif Parashas Psulos. What if you were machlifted, meaning you didn't put it in the same order that we're mentioning over here? Psulos. Amar Abaye, Dr. Abaye, Lo Yamaron Ela Giviyasa Lebriyasa. Meaning if the two inner ones were put on the outside. If you swapped it completely around like a mirror image, then it wouldn't be a problem. So Rashi says, Gviyosel birasa means shekasav aya kiviacha koidim lekodesh. So the one that was supposed to be on the inner, the one in the inner two, went to the outer two. Of Gviyosel gviyasa. So if you swapped out the two ends and did it the opposite way, that would not be a problem. Okay, we'll stop here. We'll be mamshech tomorrow. I just want to mention, how is it possible we wear tefillin every single day from when we got to Torah? So how is it possible that we, in the times of the Rishonim, in Rashi's days, there was a controversy how we made tefillin? We've been making tefillin every day. How do you forget that?
You have the same
So I once heard a very interesting story. Rabbi Lowy told this to me. But Rabbi Lowy told me just the halacha part. The story I'm going to add. Akiva Balter has his hero. Who's Akiva Balter's hero? Indiana Deutsch is his hero. No Indiana Deutsches? You've heard of Indiana Jones. So there's a leader of Deutsch who has a living Torah museum where he finds all these artifacts, and he always goes to buy shipwrecks and he explores to find. So Akiva calls him Indiana Deutsch. So Indiana Deutsch once bought up from a shipwreck the contents, and he found, I believe it was a lesech. He found a certain measurement, and he went to Rabbi Yashiv, and he asked Rabbi Yashiv, if I found this measurement, can I assume that this is the real lesech measurement from the times of the Beis HaMikdash? And then I can extrapolate to figure out, based on that, what all the other shurim are. Or maybe maybe somebody just took any other container and wrote lesech on it. In other words, when you find something like that, could you assume it's original lesech? Rabbi Yashiv says, you could be soymech on it. And he brought him a raya, because there's a tshuva from the early Achronim that says that they once dug up a very ancient pair of tefillin, and they found that it was Rashi's tefillin. It didn't belong to Rashi, it was according to the order of Rashi, and the shaila was, could you bring a raya from here that this is what we paskin, which Lamaisa we do. Everyone wears Rashi. Rabbeinu Tam is only, they want to be Mekayim Rabbeinu Tam's Shita, but everyone's minded that Be'ikra did, and we got to wear Rashi tefillin. It's because they dug up a pair of tefillin that was ancient, and when they checked it out, it was Rashi. Rav David, I'll just ask you to click join Rabbi Finkel's share, and it'll take you into Rabbi Finkel's share. So, and from there they pass into Rashi. So, Rabbi Yashiv, if you have a raya from here, that when they dig something up, you could rely on it. So the question is, how did that happen? So Rabbi Loy told me that there was a period of 100 to 150 years in the 1st or 2nd century where people couldn't get clean stomachs, so they weren't able to wear tefillin. I assume that's right when herring and kishka was developed as part of the Jewish diet, and it took 150 years till our digestive system was able to survive after a kiddush. And during those 150 years, they did not wear tefillin. People did not wear tefillin. So Vibal, there's an extended period of time where people didn't wear tefillin. They actually forgot what it's supposed to be like. Now, the story is accurate, except for I'm not sure what caused the indigestion. I was just making an assumption that it was herring gishka. Could be it wasn't. But there was an extended period of time, like about 100 years, more than 100 years, where Klal Yisrael did not wear tefillin because they couldn't have a kufnaki.
But they still had the tefillin from before.
I'm not hearing you.
They still had the tefillin from before.
I see you moving your lips, but I can't hear anything you're saying. Is it possible that your mic is turned off?
I didn't do anything.
Maybe, Eddie, could you speak? Maybe I'll see if I hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you either. So Weizsäcker, the problem is with me. So let me see if I can figure out why I don't hear.
I hear him.
I hear you too.
Can I hear you now? I got to do it. Now I hear you. Oh, yeah. Okay. So what were you saying?
I don't remember. Now I have to remember what I was saying.
Oh, we were talking about they didn't wear film for 100 years.
Yeah, but they still had this film from before. He had his grandfather's film. Why would he not?
I guess after 100 years, they didn't have the film.
Yosy, I have a question.
Please.
Can you take a pair of tefillin or a Rabbeinu Tam tefillin, just switch the parshas and make it a Rashi?
Why not?
Okay. So
I'm not opposed.
Let's say a cipher only has one pair of Rabbeinu Tam tefillin. Switch the parshas and make it a Rashi, or once it's set.
I don't see why. Well, the Shal Rosh is easier. You move the parshas around, but the Shal Yad, it's written on one scroll. So that would be very hard to do. But if it's Shoresh, you should be able to.
Well, it's not easy because you have it set up in four.
Yes, you pull them out and move to a different one. You just,
It's one piece.
what do you mean it's one piece?
Isn't it one
No, the cloth isn't one piece.
Right.
The cloth is not one piece. The cloth is four pieces. The bottom are one piece. Right, forget it. It's four pieces. So from Eddie's Shaila, it opens our eyes up. That's why they have a special shalyad, because the shalyad is the one that you can't easily switch, because the whole parashas were written in a different order.
That's it.
But one thing, the question is, even though Rabbeinu Tam had a different sheet than his grandfather's tefillin, I bet you he said, I'm not going to buy a second pair of tefillin. I'm still using Rashi's. But in those days, how expensive tefillin was. Okay, yeah, I have my sheet, but Hamai said it's $2,000. I'm not doing. I'm using my. If it was good enough for my grandfather, it's good enough for me. Okay, get the vach.
Did he put on Rashi's film afterwards?
Maybe put on Rashi's film first. Okay, shkoyach.
Get the rock.
Good.